You know that feeling, right? It's one of the most frustrating things for a parent. You're looking at your child's math paper, and you see marks lost on questions you know they understand, and you just can't help but think, why? This was just careless. But what if I told you these aren't signs of carelessness at all? What if they're actually predictable patterns of a brain under pressure?
Here's the honest truth. The real battle your child is fighting in an exam isn't about knowing more math. It's about managing what happens to the brain when the clock is ticking. These aren't just random, clumsy mistakes. They are predictable, almost programmed errors that happen when a really smart brain tries to take shortcuts to save time.
So what is actually happening in that moment? What's the glitch that turns a right answer in their head into a wrong one on the page? Let's pull back the curtain for a minute and see what's really going on inside the mind during a math test.
Okay, so let's be really clear about this. We're not just talking about math mistakes. We're talking about brain mistakes. These are predictable errors that are rooted in the mental shortcuts our brains are literally hardwired to take, especially when we're in a hurry. And here are a few of the main culprits. You've got things like anchoring, which is where the brain just latches onto the very first number it sees and won't let go. Or premature closure, and that's that dangerous feeling of I'm done before the problem is actually finished. These are the hidden thieves that are stealing marks right from under their nose.
Let's really zero in on that first one, cognitive anchoring. Seriously, think of it like a boat's anchor. Even when the question is trying to pull the student forward to a totally new part of the problem, their brain is still stuck on that initial big number. It just can't move on.
Okay, so that's the psychology. Now let's get to the good stuff. Let's see how these mental shortcuts actually show up as real-world mistakes on an exam paper.
First up is a classic the remainder trap. This is one of those fraction problems that perfectly, and I mean perfectly, shows cognitive anchoring in action. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you see the brain anchoring hard to that original total of 40. The question clearly says, of what was left, but the brain just skips right over that detail. On the right, though, the correct method focuses only on the new, smaller number, the remainder. It's a huge difference.
And you know what? The fix is brilliantly simple. It's a three-step habit. You get them to stop and ask one simple question, draw a quick new model, and then, this is the key, physically cross out the old number. You're breaking that anchor's chain. All right, next up we have a mistake that's born from that sneaky, satisfying feeling of being done. I call it the incomplete ratio. This happens when a problem has multiple parts and the brain just decides to declare victory way too early.
You can see it right here. On the left, the student solved one part of the problem and just stopped. Their brain gave them that little rush for finishing a step and they moved on. But the correct method on the right shows that crucial, disciplined step of combining everything together first. So the fix for this is a non-negotiable rule. I call it the full ratio row rule. The moment you spot one of these problems, you stop. You don't calculate anything. You first write out the full, complete ratio row. It's like building IKEA furniture, right? You got to lay out all the pieces and look at the blueprint before you start building.
And now, for what is, I think, the most maddening mistake of all. Why? Because it has absolutely nothing to do with math skills. This is the transfer error.
Oh, you know this one. I guarantee you've seen it. The correct answer, let's say it's 24, is sitting right there in the working space. But what gets copied to the answer line? 48, a ghost number from a previous calculation. On a messy, cluttered page, the eye just gets lost and grabs the wrong number. It's purely a visual attention failure.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, and we've seen the errors in the wild. Now for the most important part. What can you, as a parent, actually do about it? Let's open up the toolkit. Look, if you only remember one single thing from this whole explainer, please make it this: the box rule. It's so incredibly simple. Your child solves the problem, then they draw a box around their final answer in the working space first. Then, and only then, do they copy the number inside the box. This simple little habit makes the right answer just pop off the page. It's a game changer. Now, having the right tools is only half the battle. The other half is all about how you use them. So let's talk about how to be a coach at home instead of just another critic.
So instead of that gut reaction of, you're always so careless, try something more strategic like, I see what happened. This is a transfer error. Let's practice the box rule to fix it. It's a simple shift, but it's huge. You're going from judging their character to improving their strategy.
So let's bring it all home. These are your 3 most powerful habits. You've got the box rule for those frustrating transfer errors. You've got the new whole habit for those tricky remainder traps, and the full ratio row for any incomplete answers. Seriously, master these 3 and you are going to see a real, tangible change.
At the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. It's about being prepared. These small, consistent habits, they're what turn exam pressure from a weakness into a strength. So the only question left is, which one of these simple habits will you and your child start with tonight?